We are here today to review Dungeon Petz. This is the follow-up to Dungeon Lords, which we reviewed, and this one's been on the shelf again for a very long time. And it's another Czech game by
Vlada
Chvátil. I love his rule books.
Yes.
I'm glad I replayed it just so I could read the rule book.
And Board Game Geek has even specifically called him out on. That's one of the things he's well known about.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, if we skip right ahead, Rulebook is a perfect 10.
It was hilarious.
Yes, it's amazing. I laughed so many times reading that book. So as far as the game,
what's the first thing we got to do now?
Apparently, it's statistics. So
no,
I guess
the whole, if you like us,
subscribe. If you enjoy the review,
stuff,
hit the subscribe button. You won't know you enjoyed it at this point.
Oh, you're gonna like it.
If you watch it, you're surely gonna like it. So then go ahead and just confidently hit the subscribe button, and you'll enjoy the rest.
And
of
the notification bell.
The notification bell. Comment.
Prepare to make some comments about how great Randy's shirt is today or something, because it's pretty.
St. Louis?
He usually has a cool superhero shirt on, but not today.
No, I usually have Alice in Chains or Stone Cold Islands.
Vision. You wear a lot of
I get a lot of compliments on my shirts. Thank you very much. This one was a souvenir for my son.
Not on the St. Louis one, though. But
no, not so much this one. But my son gave me this, so it's special. All right, so now on to go ahead and the stats.
Okay, so again, Dungeon Petz by designer Vlada Chvátil. The art by Philip Mermack and Richard Cockard, I think is how you pronounce his last name. But then the BGG rating is 7.5. MSRP is $59.95, but I saw it on the Geek Market and Amazon for a little bit cheaper than that.
Okay. So as far as quality of components, I think this is a little nicer than Dungeon Lords. I think so. The imps are better, I think.
They're easier to move around and use.
Well, I think the imps in the other one look like they were more like almost like a 3D printer type quality, and these are more,
more like casted.
Cast, yeah. And I love the colors. They're like a metallic blue, green, yellow, and red. I really like the colors of this. They had stickers for the henchmen that went up the scoring chart, which I wasn't real fond of, but they do look nice once you get them on. If you get them centered.
The red kind looks like a Yoda.
Yeah, they all look like Yoda. What are you talking about? It's like when we saw them, it's like, oh, they got Yodas going up the chart. That's fine. The card quality is about the same. It's no texture to it. It's all smooth.
Standard cardboard.
Yeah.
Quality, not particularly thick. Wooden cubes, wooden discs. So
these are plastic cubes, but they're plastic and wood.
But I mean, overall, there's nothing special about it.
And again, the same
quality components.
Square wooden food that we're feeding these creatures. In this one, the game is a little different than Dungeon Lords. In Dungeon Lords, you had a whole dungeon you were protecting, and you had to build up your dungeon and put creatures in it to fight off the invaders. In this one, you're raising pets to sell to other creatures.
Probably to the Dungeon Lords that are like...
Yeah, but we've escaped our dungeon at this point. We're no longer worrying about a dungeon.
Right. Well, but I'm just thinking, I wonder if that's who we're selling our creatures to, is people for their dungeons.
Yeah, so maybe, could be. But we're raising pets, and then your goal is to try to keep them contained. So it's got a little more similarity to like a dinosaur island.
A little bit.
In the sense you've got pins and you're trying to keep them contained in them and keep them happy. And then you're trying to meet goals each time based upon like the best in show, based upon those criteria. So still same kind of concept as far as worker allocation and so on as the other. But the quality is probably about the same as far as all the components.
Right.
And it's not great, but it's not bad. It's slight. I think it's slightly better in this one, not much better.
So what would you score?
I'm probably going to give this 7.5 is what I'm thinking. I think I was at a 7 on the last one. I think you guys were at 6s. I was at 7 if I remember right.
I think I was going to go no higher than a 7. I mean, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, granted, the cardboard board isn't warped like some of our other games we've recently reviewed. So that's a pretty good thing. But just...
Well, the player boards are not great. They fold up and
you're supposed to keep it secret, and it's kind of hard to do that.
Well, plus they're bendy. Like in the corners, this one's already bending, and this is our first play of it, and I mean, they serve the purpose. They do what they're supposed to do, but that's about it. And I have a feeling the more you play, the more this is going to become a problem when you fold and unfold that.
And I didn't even think about the player board. I'm confident this is a 7.
But,
I would not go above a 7.
But I would say these creatures, they did an amazing job in designing these.
Yeah.
The creatures are very functional. We'll get to that when we get to gameplay a little better, but they did a really nice job on designing the creatures. So, yeah, I'm still good with 7.5 because of the creatures.
Okay.
As far as theme, I mean, I love the theme of this. I love the theme of Dungeon Lord.
I agree.
And I like this. It's almost like they combined, like, Pokemon and...
It's got a little bit of that feel to it, yeah. Because you're kind of collecting them, and then you're not really going to battle with them.
But you got to give them treatment that they want.
But you got to keep them happy in a sense in order so they don't escape.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I thought the creatures were really cute. I love that I could start out with the killer rabbit. Right. Unfortunately, it got out, and I apologize to all the people that lost family members.
Right, but Tim wasn't around to help.
That's right. We didn't have the wizard named Tim. But yeah, he's out there terrorizing some knights somewhere.
Right, somewhere.
But yeah, as far as just the art on this, I love it. I love the how they blended the theme into the mechanics of this.
I mean, even though we'll go into the rulebook helped with the theme.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I think that I think that needs to be stated that the rulebook did help thematically with this game. Yeah. So I think the theme is great.
Yeah. So given all that, I mean, I'm probably at a 9 on this as far as theme goes.
I gotta agree. I mean, it's a ton of fun, and it really feels like. I mean, granted, I've never raised a monster, so I don't know how that really feels. But it's just cool. It's just a lot of neat stuff going on in this game.
Yeah. The rulebook we've already said is a 10, but there's a lot of humor in this.
So much tongue-in-cheek stuff. Yeah. It's just great.
And I mean, it was funny because there was like one section that tells you don't need to read this the first round because you skip it, but it's the setup of the play. And one of the things we all got a really good laugh about is as you clean up for the next round, your monsters move up in age.
You get it like a level 1 type monster that progresses to a level 2. And if you don't get the level 2 monster out of there, it goes away.
It goes away. And they go into a big story about it goes to this nice little farmland to live out its days. But you coincidentally add meat to the meat market for each creature that leaves. So we all gonna laugh. And then to add to it, it's like, it's just the rule, guys.
Like wink, wink.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It's like, these creatures are getting slaughtered and turned into meat.
Absolutely.
And it's just great. It's just amazing how well written this is. And you're going to laugh as you read it. And it helps actually to make the rules stick. As something Caleb pointed out when we were playing is, that he probably wouldn't remember the rules except for they're so memorable because of all the humor. So I really appreciate that.
I do too.
And it's designed well as far as the rules, and they try to make it so it's as easy to get into the game as fast as possible by saying you can shortcut it and not read this section right now, and then there's advanced variants that you can that get you to add later. But the advanced variants, I don't know if I'd ever want to play with them because it's already
hard already.
Yeah, I mean. You can add it, but it looks like it's going to complicate all the criteria you have to add to it, and it's like, I don't know that I ever want to play that. It's hard enough. So I really enjoy the complexity as that now, and I think that I would not enjoy it as much as if it was added on.
Might be a little too hard.
Yeah, but the rules are definitely a 10.
Absolutely.
And it's almost worth it.
And I didn't even read it. I just enjoyed listening to them. It was a lot of fun.
Speaking of which, you weren't here for most of it. This is his birthday, guys. So happy birthday to Birdman. Just to let you know, you're probably not watching it. Well, you won't be watching it on his birthday. But his birthday was a few days ago, after based upon this video's airing. So, but either way, happy birthday.
Thanks.
So, all right. So now moving on to gameplay. So. Gameplay of this, like I said, you're raising creatures to ultimately sell to customers who appreciative of those types of creatures based upon the types of treatment you give them, whether it be feeding them pooing.
Poo is a real part of the game.
Play, them getting angry if they're angry creatures.
And then how magical they are.
And diseased. Yeah. So there's all kinds of criteria, and each round the creatures get tougher. They build up strength, and you're going to have more criteria added. So you're trying to match your cards that you have in play to the criteria, but you get to hold over one card of each suit.
Right.
And there's 4 different suits: purple, yellow, red, and green, which correspond to magic, play, anger, and feeding. But not directly, because there's some of each type in each one, and it's like there's a distribution they give you on your cheat sheet.
One of the nice parts of the player board is it tells you the distribution of what each color card and how it could affect what the card's going to dictate.
And I almost call BS on that, because every time I get the nasty stuff that I wasn't expecting to get out of a color, but it's just coincidental. I'm sure it's matching to what's in the
each
deck.
one definitely has a primary function, but they all have alternate functions as well, just not as much.
I just drew every alternate function.
No, that's how you roll.
Yeah, so so Caleb kind of slaughtered Rob and I.
He really did.
Yeah, he almost lapped us. But you and I were pretty close.
Yeah, 3-point difference.
Yeah. As far as the rounds, basically you're going to be resetting for the next round. It's the first step, and then getting income. Then you're going to be allocating your imps as workers behind your screen into basically 6 different buckets that you're going to allocate that could go to spaces on the board. You don't have to allocate all 6. You can allocate less than that, but you're doing it secretly. And then you're going to all reveal, and the buckets, whoever put the most in one bucket takes the action first. If there's a tie, then you use the player turn order to determine, and you get to decide which spaces you're going to allocate. Once you allocate, no one else can allocate to that space. So it's just like a typical worker placement game. You get the benefit of the space, which could be getting more cages for your creatures.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different places.
Yeah.
You got cages, you can get
monsters.
You can get artifacts.
Artifacts let you bend the rules of the game.
You got food, and you got 2 different types of food. You got plant and meat,
yeah.
all based off the type of monster.
Yeah.
So herbivores, omnivores,
and carnivores.
Or carnivores. Or you got some kind of ability to get more minions, potentially based off of what you got up here on this board over here.
There's basically each round you can get potentially more minions to come out.
You can get potions, which kind of help you deflect some of the negative side effects that you get from your cards.
Yeah, and they also return healing anything. It's the hospital, so you can pull imps that got injured late in the rounds to come back to you.
You can multiply your score that if you do sell your monster off. And then probably one of my favorite parts is you can bribe the judges. So,
I love that.
I love that.
Thematically, it's great. So,
all right, the whip was was an artifact he got, which added just a half to his score down on the bottom, which it beat me a couple different times where we tied, but then because he got the half, he eked it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the only reason I beat you by 3 points was because I got that. I got me scoring the one round where I wasn't scored. I got pulled into it because I had a half point. And the other time I got because I edged you out. We tied and I beat you by a half. So it came in super handy. Those are the different choices you have. Then once you get it back, you have to allocate your creatures to which pen you're going to put them in based upon whether the pens themselves will have a strength meter on them for whether they're defensive for attack, for them getting angry and trying to bust out, versus magic, where basically magic's the hardest one because if you don't have the magic capability to restrict them, there's nothing you can do to prevent that.
Right.
The others like you can sacrifice imps and have them go to the hospital, keep them in the pen if it's just they get angry. But magic, there's nothing you can do.
And that's one of the cool parts about the game is there's a little bit of risk versus reward. Do I allocate them to the board to do an action, or do I keep them reserved because I think I might need them to help protect my monsters from escaping, or because if you don't allocate them, then you can keep them and put them on your player board to either play with your monsters or prevent extra damage, and mitigate the damage,
or to clean up poo,
and
then also to get free money at the end if you don't use them
at all.
Yeah, so there's a lot of choices to make in this. So you've got to choose wisely what you're going to do as far as distribution. And the hard part is you only get to carry 4 cards over. So your demand of what you're going to get during the round is dependent on the creatures, and you're going to get a lot more demand than you are cards that you get to know. Because you're going to draw blind from the decks.
And you really don't know what's going to be on those cards.
So you got to allocate them to the pen without really knowing what you're going to get as far as their needs for that round.
And if we didn't say, each of the pens can have different stats. So you would have the damage as far as like the physical damage where it bites you, the magical damage to prevent that. And then you got some other buffs where if you got a little ball of yarn, it can mitigate the play. And then it's got the little cleanup action for the poo.
So there is a little bit of randomness in the draw of the cards, which is, if some people don't like that, it may be unappealing to them. I didn't mind it.
I didn't know.
I'm the one that got burnt by it.
I usually hate randomness in a game, especially a lot of randomness. And there's a lot in it, but it didn't hurt.
No, because, you got to also consider the round bonus for it, because there's the best in show presentation where they're looking for, some cases they want animals that are diseased,
or they have poo all over.
You never know what they're going to want. To each their own, I guess. But you never know what the allocation is going to be. So you based upon that you're going to decide what cards you're going to play, and it may be that you'll take. Maybe you have to sacrifice some stuff in order to do it. You don't want to lose the monster, so that was the problem I had. I got
but it didn't hit you real hard. Thankfully, it hit you in the middle of the game versus the end.
Well, it did and it didn't. It hit me hard because I didn't have that creature to sell.
True,
and that was my strongest.
But you didn't lose a whole lot of points because you lose a tenth of what your overall score is. So if you got over 50 points, that could hurt.
Yeah, you lose 5 points. So you don't want to lose your creatures, and you can lose them multiple ways. You can lose them because you don't have a storage pin for them,
or you're not able to
because
they bit you too hard.
Yeah, they bit you. They were too angry, and they broke it through the fence.
Or the magic.
Or if the magic is too high, they mutate, which is kind of a cool thing. They actually grow additional tentacles and eyes, and if they mutate twice, they get sucked into another dimension. So they disappear. It's just like they died in essence, but they're gone from the game, and you lose them either way. So either way, it's going to hurt you. Although in that one, it said you won't feel so bad because they could actually maybe one day send you a postcard from the other dimension to let you know they're alive and well. So the book was hilariously explaining all of it. So all in all, there's just a lot of things to consider when you're making your decisions each round. Like I said, there is that whole luck aspect, and that it can bite you big, and it bit me bigger than any of us, I think, as far as the impact it had on me. Then after that, you can sell the creature, and that's another set of considerations because it's using the cards that you played that round to determine.
Right. It doesn't really look at your creature; it looks at all the things you did to make your creature happy.
Yeah. So, you've got to not only do the best in show thing, but you also got to consider if you're going to sell that creature this round. And it will generate victory points and money. Or reputation, I should call it. That's what they call the victory points in this game.
And the one of the riskier parts is the older your creature is, the more cards that you have to keep happy, which then increases the potential score value that you get. So do you sell it early when you're confident that you'll get something, or do you wait a little bit later and risk the fact that you can't maybe feed it or you can't get that magic or something, but then you can score big at the end of the game, end of the round.
So, this one, we played it 3-player, and with 2 or 3 players, you have basically non-player imps that take up spaces. With 3 players, I don't think it was a big impact. At 2 players, I think it would be a really negative impact on the game. I don't think it would be... I
wouldn't mind trying it just to see, but I bet it'd be a pain in the butt.
I don't think I would enjoy it nearly as much. And I know that one of our fellow reviewers didn't give this a very good review because they played a 2-player. And I think that was probably the big factor here. They may not have liked it anyway, but it definitely that was a big factor, I think, because I enjoyed this a lot more 3-player than I thought it would. I knew Dungeon Lords was good, and I was really eager to try this. And I'd heard some people say this is better than Dungeon Lords.
I've heard lots of people say they like Dungeon Petz more than Dungeon Lords.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I really did badly at both of them. So
I think it's cuter. It's
definitely cuter.
It's got a little bit more of a lighter feel to it than I think than Dungeon Lords does. So I can see why some people would like it more. I think I do like it a little bit more in Dungeon Lords.
You did?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm on the fence.
Dungeon Lords, I don't want to take away from that. It was a great game too. I mean, I enjoyed both, but I think I like this one just maybe an eensy-mincy a little bit better.
So what's your score on it?
I think I'm going to give it an 8.5.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of aspects to it that I really liked. I think it could have been a 10 if it had better components, but there's some of those, it's pretty big factors that take it away from it, so that's why I'm an 8.5.
Well, I never weight that into gameplay. Gameplay is, to me, its own category, so I don't consider the components. As far as the play, though, I'm probably at an 8 with this one. I like it, but the luck aspect does pull it down a little bit for me, I think. I like the fact that there's a lot of decisions to make in it, and I like the mechanics of how everything flows. I just the huge luck factor and what you're going to draw that could potentially cost you losing a creature.
I agree if the artifacts were in there, but the artifacts do help mitigate the luck.
They do help.
So that's the only reason why I didn't really rank it too harshly on the luck factor.
Yeah, but I mean, it definitely is a solid game, and it puts everything together very well. It's I have yet to play one of Vlada Chvátil's games that I did not really enjoy. I mean,
I think how long did you think it took us to play it?
Probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours maybe.
I think that maybe if it wasn't a learning game, you'd probably knock it out in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too terribly long.
Yeah. And it is a table hog.
It is.
It took up a lot of space on the table, a lot of real estate, and we definitely could not have played this on the other table.
Right.
We had to use this table.
But we didn't need side tables.
We did not need side tables, no. Although if we had a fourth player, it might have required
been a side table issue there.
Yeah.
But 3-player worked out well.
Yeah. So, well, that's our assessment.
Yep.
Again, thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll come back. Hit the subscribe button again.
Yep. Let us know what you thought. If you played the game, let us know what you thought of the game. Which did you like better, Dungeon Lords versus Dungeon Petz?
Yep. Yeah, we'd love to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, until next time. Bye.